Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. It's almost America's birthday, and pretty soon I will have the same haircut as the founding fathers, Perna. I hope everyone has a safe, long 4th of July weekend. And just remember, on that day, 200-something years ago, George Washington invented America when he f***ed a cherry tree, which gave birth to apple pie. Today on this show, though, we have the NFL shortening the preseason to 2 games, and the NFLPA then saying, wait, we ain't playing any preseason football. The Washington Redskins potatoes are being forced to change their name, just like the Dixie Chicks, who were obviously tired of being associated with dicks. If either the Chicks or the potatoes had been relevant since the 90s, maybe we'd care. Chris Jones wants $20 million a year, Zeke Elliott threatens to sue Sports Illustrated, and Bills fans will not be allowed to go to games during the pandemic because have you ever seen any of them follow any rules? You gotta stay 6 feet apart, Bills fans. Why don't you suck on this sex toy I lit on fire, nerd? That's good sports. For the weirdest football news updates, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Today's episode is sponsored by Manscaped.com/GoodSports. That is your exclusive discount link to use to acquire the most complete below-the-belt grooming package offered anywhere. Summer is here, which means you need to keep your pubes trim to minimize swamp ass and that blistering heat. Use the best ball trimmer in the game in the Lawnmower 3.0 to tame those wiry crotch hairs. Wait, put your crotch hairs in the crosshairs with the Lawnmower 3.0, a waterproof ceramic bladed ball trimmer specifically designed for your bush and berries. Make sure you check out the perfect package 3.0 with my Manscaped.com/GoodSports link to receive the Lawnmower 3.0, a free pair of boxer briefs, a Manscaped travel bag, the Pube Mat ball toner and ball deodorant, and a replacement blade every 3 months for $14.99 if you desire. Manscaped. Do it. It's true. And I'm sorry, Bills Mafia, but you cannot attend games this season and you cannot tailgate as mandated by the state of New York. Now, there's no word on fans attending Jets or Giants games because just like the rest of the country, nobody gives a shit about any fan base outside of the Bills Mafia. Collectively, we must preserve you glorious bastards. Or maybe it's just because the Jets and Giants actually play in New Jersey. But I like my theory. The NFL has shortened the preseason to 2 games. Finally. The crazy part is they did it exactly the way I predicted in the Big Ben Big Porn episode and ditched the first and final weeks of the preseason. Now, I will go out on a limb and say that we will probably never see a 4-game preseason in the NFL ever again, which in my opinion is a very good thing. There are few things more depressing than the 4th quarter of a game that doesn't matter in a half-empty stadium being played by guys who just don't have NFL skills. Or as the Chargers call it, December football. Boom, 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 yeah! Till you get real fans, Chargers, you're gonna be a punching bag. Now, our close and personal friend here at That's Good Sports, Broncos kicker Brandon McManus weighed in on Twitter saying that there will be either 0 or 1 preseason game. As someone who knows Brandon, I will take his word and report his tweet as being the actual news. Get ready for a half of a preseason game. Then Mike Garafolo tweeted that the NFLPA has definitely not signed off on 2 preseason games, confirming the gospel of McManus, and that they are questioning whether it's safe to play any preseason games. So the feeling here is that the NFL is definitely ready for football, but the players are not. 1 minute we are having 2 preseason games, and the next we are having none. But then the NFL doubled down, saying it is firm and will have 2 games, which I actually tend to believe, because the NFL is the most greedy league on earth, and the important part, it does not need the NFLPA's approval to move forward with 2 preseason games. What this comes down to is the NFL's will and the players' willingness to risk getting coronavirus for NFL paychecks. Every player will see this differently. Every player will have risks they are willing to take and risks they are willing to not take. There's no way to prevent players from spreading the virus once a game starts, but if every player and person on the sideline can be tested before entering the stadium on game day, I think they can do it. I also think with all of the XFL players out there, the unsigned free agents available, that from a personnel standpoint, they will have the bodies to fill rosters for a roller coaster of a season. And if you don't think the NFL views players as just expendable bodies, you haven't been paying attention. Now, Boston sports radio remains undefeated at being the absolute worst. Here's a couple Boston knucklefuckers named Felger and Maz. A Felger, by the way, is what you call someone who can fit a coffee can in their rectum. Felgers are how cell phones get into prison. Fun fact. Anyway, here was their take on Cam Newton fitting in with their Patriots.
How about culture? Like even something as simple and seemingly innocuous as the dapping, the Supermaning, all the celebrating and showboating on the field.
Oh, the dapping. Oh, the Supermaning. Why don't you just try handing the ball to the reffing?
So Cam Newton has celebrated more than any player in the league maybe over the last decade. Something as simple and innocuous as that. Think he'll be able to contain it?
I think Bill's going to give him a little latitude on that one. That's what I think.
I hope he doesn't. I like that about the Patriots. I like that. I like that they don't ride each other like ponies after games.
What the hell are they even talking about? Bill Belichick actually encourages his players to celebrate and celebrate with each other.
There's nothing wrong. In fact, you should be excited when you make a play. Hell, look at all the work you've put into it, all the time that you've spent and practice of put into it, and to go out there in a game competitively and execute it well and make a play, you should be excited about it. And your teammates should be excited too. And you see when we're playing with energy and when we're playing with emotion and when we're not. Nice play, Ty. Can't even see one guy saying, good hit.
Why do I know more about the Patriots than Boston radio guys? And another thing, Tom Brady would never shut the fuck up when he was on the field with his lame-ass celebrations. LFG, LFG, LFG. Cam Newton gives game balls to kids in the stands. All Tom Brady ever did was point out which kid he wanted to mouth kiss. Complaining about athlete celebrations is the graduation ceremony for becoming an old, grumpy man. Now, I've been assured by the good-hearted Patriots fans here, and they do exist, so treat them well, that these two dudes are jokes and nobody in Boston actually likes listening to their radio shit-ass show.
They won't let Dorsett ride Gronkowski like a pony.
The only thing these idiots know about football are the names of their head coach and quarterback.
Newton.
Bills.
Newton.
Bill.
Don't. Superman. We don't do that here.
Bill.
Newton.
Bills.
Newton.
Bill.
Now, Broncos Twitter posted a video of John Elway and Peyton Manning throwing the old pigskin in the backyard that is Mile High Stadium. Why is there only 6 seconds of this happening? Did their old arms give out after one throw each? Does this somehow violate HIPAA? I want to see exactly how far each of them can throw the ball still. To be honest, we might have seen how far Peyton Manning can actually throw it, but I'm guessing Elway can still huck it about 50-55 yards, even with the ailment in his hand. To make up for missing a couple preseason games, the NFL should hold old quarterbacks try and prove they still got it competitions at the end of August. That's something I would definitely watch. Now, the difference between Elway and Manning is that Elway might have been playing his best football when he retired, while Manning was playing his worst. All I know is that if John Elway could have thrown to someone like Demaryius Thomas, he would have broken Peyton Manning's 55 touchdowns in a season record by 20. Put Demaryius Thomas in Elway's era and he immediately shatters all of Jerry Rice's records in half the time. That's what this video shows me. Also, Peyton's Places Season 2 coming soon. Chiefs defensive lineman Chris Jones stated he will not play if he doesn't get paid $20 million a year. He's currently on the franchise tag, slated to make around $16 million, and it does not appear as if the Chiefs will offer him a long-term deal that pays him the money he actually deserves. KC has to pay Patrick Mahomes, probably Tyreek Hill again, including his legal fees, Tyrann Mathieu maybe, and Travis Kelce in 2022 again if they want to keep him around. My hope is that Jones stays true to his word and leaves Kansas City because he is absolutely their most valuable defensive player. And if there is a God, thou shalt allow the Chiefs to fucketh this uppeth. Now, Sports Illustrated wrote an article about Ezekiel Elliott saying on Twitch that he was low-key faded.
Bro, I'm low-key faded, bro. Oh no, I didn't even end my stream yet.
How dare they? The article, written by Jimmy Traina, yes, that's a writer and not a Sopranos character, refers to being low-key faded as mixing weed and alcohol. When I was a younger man, we just called that getting fucked up, but PC culture has ruined everything. Elliott claims he had just had a few drinks, but now he wants to turn this battle of semantics into defamation. Now, my writing partner, Will Keys, knows a very small amount of media law and is telling me there's no chance Zeke is going to get anywhere with a lawsuit. Will tried to sue Sports Illustrated once for not putting out a swimsuit issue every day. So that's how he knows. But it is the reason you now see swimsuit ads in every ESPN article, so thank you, Will. Also, it's hard to prove libel. Trust me, which is what this would be categorized as. And it's almost impossible for something to qualify as libel when the person being libeled is a public figure, which Zeke most certainly is. Throw in Zeke's reputation as someone who's been known to partake in a little grass.
Bro, I'm low-key faded, bro.
Plus the fact that Urban Dictionary describes being faded as being under the influence, and there's roughly zero chance he would ever win if a lawyer were dumb enough to encourage such a lawsuit. I now call Zeke the Freak to the the case is dead right there. His nickname is Freak? Guilty. Now, after watching Antonio Brown work out with Russell Wilson, I can say with confidence that if AB were on the Seahawks, he would have something like 1,800 yards and 20 touchdowns this year. Playing with Russell Wilson is probably a lot like playing with Big Ben in that the play is almost never over because the word no means nothing to Ben, and a huge portion of their production comes off script. AB and Big Ben broke up on bad terms, but we know from history that the only way you can piss off the calm, cool, and collected Russell Wilson is by banging his wife. And fortunately, I think Ciara can hire a 53-man team of bodyguards to keep Antonio Brown away from her. Now, this video was posted about a day after the AB to Tampa Bay rumors emerged again. The Ravens are officially out on Antonio Brown now, so maybe Seattle really is the leader in the AB sweepstakes. The Antonio Brown sweepstakes, the only sweepstakes that you still lose, even when you win. And finally, 87 investment firms representing roughly $620 billion in assets are asking Nike, FedEx, and Pepsi to stop doing business with the Washington Redskins potatoes until they change their name. Obviously, Nike designs their uniforms and apparel like every NFL team. FedEx is the naming rights partner on their stadium, and Pepsi is what the players drink on the sideline during games in Washington. Now, Mike Florio wrote something at the end of his article about this that I think was really poignant. He said, "It will be interesting to see whether any of these companies will do anything other than issue a no comment and join the league and the team in a fairly obvious effort to run out the clock until everyone starts paying attention to something else." That feels like the game plan here for anyone under this kind of pressure and scrutiny. The push to change the Redskins' name comes in waves, and the franchise just kind of battens down the hatches until people forget or move on to something else, or Alex Smith breaks his leg in half. Conspiracy theory Dan Snyder planned that to keep the name. Now, I don't know how or whether these companies could boycott the Redskins specifically when their contracts are with the NFL as a whole. But I think it would be really funny if the Redskins were the only team that had to wear Russell Athletic jerseys this season instead of their normal uniforms. The thing that might force a change is that the government will not allow Dan Snyder to build a new stadium if he doesn't change the name. I do not know how offensive the word Redskin actually is to Native Americans. I have seen Native Americans defend the word, and I have seen Native Americans protest the word. What I do know is that if the Redskin potatoes would just win one more fucking Super Bowl, we could change the name to the Washington Foreskins to honor their 4 Super Bowl victories. Happy 4th of July! Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna and Instagram at Brandon Perna. Those are social media places where I...